sound of yesterday. Barstools and Bandtalk, and memories live on. Barstools and Bandtalk with Dave and Sean.
Oh, damn, backwards again. Wow. Wait, there's more. Hi, folks. I'm Dave.
I'm Sean.
We are Barstools
And Bandtalk. Complete maritime music bucket list.
So we got a big show tonight. And there was a thread that went on our site there probably about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks. And it was kind of fun to see our next guest meet up with, one of his, I don't know if his mentors or his idols per se, but certainly somebody he really looked up to and had I can't say the word, specific sound that he was looking for. And it's kind of cool to see the two of them connect on this website. And you're going to hear probably a little bit more about that story a little bit later on. But Sean, tell them who we got tonight.
Well, again, it's a treat because we're slowly picking away at all the members of the classic version of this band. And, this is a gentleman who we used to go and watch all the time. Let's call it what it is. And we keep saying it. When we saw Razor Boy, it didn't matter if you saw him at the Horse, you saw him at the Moon, you saw him at JB's. You knew what you were getting. It was going to be a full-on balls-to-the-walls rock show, and you were never disappointed. And this guy, he had a great stage presence, great sound. He was fun to watch. We have the one, the only, from St. John, New Brunswick, via Vancouver. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Tim Hewitt.
From Razor Boy to Trooper and all the way in between, Mr. Tim Hewitt. There he is.
What's up, brother? Can't hear you. We can see that. We can see that handsome face. We're just waiting for some audio.
You know what? I love the beard. Beard's my favorite part.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
There we are. So I knew that you guys have beards. It's on your mugs, and I grew one just today to be on your show.
Today.
Good job. That was
the testosterone that must run through your body, Jim Hewitt. Unbelievable.
Yes, I'm wiser than I thought I was too.
Suddenly I'm a soothsayer.
Did you get the beard?
Guys, if we're live now, thank you on. Here's not a Barstools and Bandtalk mug, but it's a Kiss Army mug. So
yes, we love that. I love that. So we're gonna hop right in here, Tim, and we just did a little intro just about Razor Boy, but we said St. John, New Brunswick via Vancouver and all parts in between. What the hell have you been up to I haven't seen you for, oh my God, 20 plus years. What the hell have you been up to?
It's been more like 30, but I've been I've been a musician the whole time. I've been across this country. I played with a bunch of bands. I have my home studio. I have my family. I have my boat. I have my life here in Vancouver. I moved here in, I believe, 91, and it's been a ride. It's been music the whole time. I've been very fortunate. Yeah.
So what's the scene like out there? What's the scene like out there?
It's different through the years I've been here. So moving here in 91, there was a band scene like Halifax. It was a strange thing though, where back there, so Razor Boy and even Haywire and whoever would be playing covers 6-7 nights a week and then playing their originals in the sets as well. Well, out here, people didn't like if you were a cover band that did originals. It was original bands and cover bands, and they didn't really mix. So I found myself a bit confused as to what to do when I got here. But it worked itself out. There was some places to play, and there was a good scene, and it was like the 80s at first, the early 90s. Then things died off with DJs and GST and all the same things that everybody suffered all across the country to the live music scene. But I happened to be lucky enough to meet a drummer that I did a bunch of records with, and he played in a band called Faith and Desire with a man called Gary Gillespie.
Oh yes.
From Broken Toys and Click. And that band was called Faith and Desire, and they were what what I remember, because he's from the Maritimes, I would suppose, they played originals, made CDs, made records, and played clubs to make a living. And I joined those guys and ended up finding a scene that was between here doing corporate gigs and Anchorage, Alaska, doing cover gigs. And that's where I met my wife, and
Oh, nice.
brought her back from fishing expedition in Alaska, and she's been here with me for 20 years now.
Nice.
There's
Yeah.
that. Hey, Dave. There's that connection again.
I didn't want to say it, but it's
Yeah.
so true. I
Alaska?
can't believe how much Anchorage, Alaska has come up to me in the last 3 weeks, where I don't think I think I knew about Sarah Palin being there before. That's all I really knew about it. I can't believe how much I've heard about Alaska.
But that's because Alaska is, I'd give it a good 10, 15 years behind the times as far as their musical taste, as far as what they're doing. And so there was a music scene there. So while things were dying here, there was a music scene there with a club. And so if you've been talking to Colleen or Paul
Yep.
or Vaughn
Yep.
or Kevin Ferris,
Yep.
they'll all know about a place called Chilkoot Charlie's.
Yeah.
And so I played with the Faith and Desire guys. I played there for 5 or 6 years. We'd go there 5 or 6 times a year for 4 to 6 weeks at a time. And it was like stepping back in time to the 80s. I had an Ampeg SVT rig up there. I had my Spectre. We played music to crowds that were, well, smoking, which was the weird part. And
right.
yeah, the smoking was okay. But they loved music, and they'd come out, and they would. So we found a thing that would pay us very well as have appreciative crowds. So we played 6 nights a week for 4 to 6 weeks at a time, just like the old days. And we played till 3 a.m, just like the old days.
Wow. That makes sense to me now. I didn't know that. That makes perfect sense to me. It really does.
Yeah. There's a man I'd like to thank, Duran Powell, who ran Chilkoot Charlie's, who hired us, kept us coming back, helped me buy my first place. He loved music. He supported it. I hope he chimes in here somewhere. He's not from the East Coast, but I know he'll be interested in Paul and Colleen. And there's people. I'm doing this little throwback thing that you're doing. I'm really going back through time and thinking about the people who helped me be who I am right now. And those people are on the list, including Colleen. Colleen and I had many late nights after my gigs at the Ice House or her gigs at the Palace, and we just go and hang out and talk bass and things. It was a great little community, Halifax, right? Wonderful people, nice people that were always helping each other out. So nice to find those people somewhere else, and nice to find other people like that in other places of the world as well. I've said it many times. Alaska is the Newfoundland of America.
Yeah, that's the analogy I was running in my head, because I'm not saying that Newfoundland was behind the times, but they kind of were. They were a couple of years, not 15 years, but they were a couple of years behind. So, but it was always decent money and good gigs, and you could go there for a while, and it was awesome. So, we got a call from Peter Ettinger last week. Peter Ettinger was doing his first gig, after COVID in Anchorage. He's living there, right? So. Yeah.
His band came into that club as we were going out. It was another funny thing, seeing another Maritimer in the same situation in a different situation.
Right.
So, yeah. So that led me up to. So we stopped doing that Alaska thing. I came back here to Vancouver, and we did a lot of corporate gigs, and decided to not play clubs, focus on writing some tunes, doing corporate gigs, making some money. And then the crash of 2007, 2008 happened. And all of so there's a little place called Whistler up the road, if you've ever heard of it. They hosted the Olympics. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of skiing. It's a lot of rich people. And a lot of companies have their corporate retreats there. So I used to be playing up Alaska for corporate gigs like 3-4 times a month. And then along with whatever else was here in Vancouver. And it was a good way to make a living. And then the crash came, and it all went away. No more Pfizer, no more Remax, no more, whatever investment company coming up to Whistler, and no more coming to Vancouver. So that's when I started doing a solo acoustic thing. And funny enough, the first gig I got was a place that I would play with my side band, a place called Kaylee's Irish Pub. And they said, "Oh, we're having our Lobster Fest. Can you come play for us? Joni Maritime music." To which I said, "Oh, you got the right guy." So I started doing a solo acoustic thing that I've now been doing for the last, 12 years or so. I sing, I play guitar, I loop, and play a lot of casinos, corporate events, weddings, that kind of thing. And
Very
then,
cool.
and then when I can, I'm here, trying to make some music.
So it sounds like what took place in Vancouver was sort of similar to here, because I mean the crash didn't really mess anything up. We had the smoking bylaw that came in and break some things up.
Yeah.
But there was the acoustic duos or the singles, and then there was this Celtic wave that kind of seems to maybe have passed a little bit. So the last year and a half, 2 years have been a lot of live band stuff again, which has been kind of cool. Now we'll see what happens when everything picks up. But in terms of there's a ton, like yourself and Lee. Just name some of the people from the East Coast that wound up out in Vancouver, because I know a lot of them. But
so Lee's out here, and when I moved here, I was traveling across the country with a band called Now Voyageur with Andrew Ettinger, Leon McClellan, and the drummer was Derek. Derek, what's your last name? I'm sorry. Lovely man, and I see he's having a great life on Facebook right now. And we ended up traveling across the country. I took a job with them. I was kind of, not that I have any ill remorse against Halifax at all, but just I had done everything there was to do and played with everybody I'd wanted to play with, and that was available to me. And so I just wanted to do something else and maybe see the rest of the country. We toured through Newfoundland, the Maritimes, and Quebec, a bit in Ontario, but I hadn't been to the West Coast. So Andrew's band was going to the West Coast, and I thought, well, why don't I go tag along? And I ended up via that coming to Vancouver, and there's a funny story in there too. Maybe we'll tell that later. But the only person I knew here was Phil DeRoche, drummer, and so what happened was the band was breaking up, and do I go home to Halifax? Do I go to Montreal? Do I go to Toronto? Do I go to Winnipeg? Do I go to Vancouver? Where do I want to land on my feet after all this? And I thought, well, why don't I try Vancouver? And the only person I knew here was Phil. So I came here, and Phil was nice enough to put me up, fine maritime fellow that he is. And then I got to meet, I think James came after that, and Lee came after that. MJ was here for a while. She's in Alaska now. Kevin Ferris is here. Steve Hennessy ended up here not long after me. Steve and I lived together for years, and ended up because I was playing in Rhymes with Orange with him as well. Who else is out here? It's funny. Kyle Miller's out here, the old drummer from Razorboy, the guy that walked around like Kim Mitchell with his striped pants on, and and Doug McKinnon. The funniest thing. So James and I have been good friends, and if you read my post with my Spectre, how he mentored me when I started playing in bands, and we've remained friends to this day. So 35 years later, and we own a boat together, and it's down at the Burrard Marina underneath the Burrard Street Bridge, just near downtown. Yeah, in English Bay. And one day we've got to turn the boat around for some reason. We're painting or I don't know. And so our neighbor next door across the slip is like, hey, can you give us a hand? He's like, oh yeah, well, my friend Doug will be here any minute as well. And we say, oh, we don't know Doug. But Doug walks up, and James looks at him and says, Doug McKinnon, the old sound man from Razorboy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he's our boat neighbor.
That's amazing.
It's a small world after all.
Tim, take us back now, if you don't mind, Sean. Just take us back to when you first started playing. So you're a St. John kid.
Yeah.
What bit you in the music bug that you wanted to get started in this whole thing yourself?
So when I was little, I had a cousin that played guitar. I'm not from a musical family, but I had one cousin that would come over and sing and play guitar, and I adored her. I loved that music could be made, as one person, one guitar, singing a song, and it was a lovely thing. And there was a guitar in my house that my dad wouldn't let me touch because it was his. he was also the guy in St. John. There were two radio stations. One was rock and one was country. And if you touched that dial, Dad was really mad. You had to have the country music station on, which led me to hate country music until about 10 years ago. But I love it now. And but there was a guitar in the house, so I decided I wanted to do this too. So I snuck it when he wasn't around, and had a chord book and learned to play guitar. And then when I was about 9 or 10 years old, someone gave me Kiss Alive 2. And it was just, what is this? My friend Brant Arsenal, if you're out there, he's down in New York now, got a lot of guitars himself. And it was life changing. I wanted to be in Kiss. And so then I got a little older, and when I was going from to leaving elementary school to go to junior high school from grade 6 to grade 7, I thought, you know what, I really got to get this together. I've got to have a thing, because I love music, but I realized that there were girls out there. So I took the whole summer and really worked on my guitar. And then as I went to school, I think the first week I had my guitar in a garbage bag, and I'm walking down the hall, and I meet a guy with a guitar in a garbage band. We go, "You want to start a band?" And we did. And that was Philip Kennedy. Thank you, Philip, if you're out there. Another person that I wouldn't be here right now without, because he was kind enough. And he and I started a band with a drummer named Yvonne Richard, and we played our junior high school talent shows, and we played whatever. The same thing I say now. I would play wherever anyone would let me.
Yeah.
We'd play on my back patio. We would play for the talent shows, anything. And eventually I decided that I wanted to be Gene, and that I should take up the bass guitar, because mostly it's because Phil was a much better guitar player.
I get it.
So,
I get it.
Yeah, so
I
let him play guitar, and that led to me later on I think it might have been junior high school, but if not that, in early high school, we kept that band together for a while. But then I made some friends, and that starts the story of my life for the next 20 years, which is playing with people that were older and better than me, which again, I can't be more appreciative of. So I've got the shirt right here. I got into these older guys, which actually kind of scared me, because I was a very naive kid. I didn't smoke or didn't drink or didn't do anything. I was a real goody two shoes. And these guys were older. They were 19, they were 20, maybe some younger, some older, but it was a heavy metal band. And we played Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Def Leppard, White Snake, UFO, Michael Schenker Group. It was all that stuff.
Cool.
And they were really good. Like, there was 2 guitar players playing dual leads in Iron Maiden's and Judas Priest's tunes, and I was just trying to keep up. The drummer was Terry Morton. If you're out there, Terry, I think Terry's in Calgary now. And that band was, last time I was home, my mom said, "Do you want this shirt?" And I said, "Yeah." That's my high school band, Helly.
That's cool.
Well, see,
And,
maybe we're kindred spirits now, because my high school band was called Hellraiser, but it was Razor. You see? So there you go.
There's a lot in common there.
A lot of hell.
You catch
Hellion, Razor Boy, Hellraiser.
See?
Yeah. So that band I played in, and we played the Battle of the Bands on the boardwalk in St. John, New Brunswick. And I was just reminiscing with a friend on Facebook, Louis Pafil, from St. John. And I said, "Did we come in second or third?" And I think that year what it was Haywire won, Razor Boy came in second, and our band came in third place, the local boys. And yeah, and that was a real eye-opening, that we had that hometown support, of course, but we were a metal band.
There you go.
Yeah. And so that band, we played together with various incarnations. This guy named Gordy Sheffroth was the singer, and he was amazing. He ended up, when Rob Halford wasn't in Judas Priest, Gordy almost got that gig. I can't remember the story of how close he got. And of course, I would think he got very, very close, but the man could sing like I could not believe, and still can to this day. He's not on Facebook, but his wife is, and there's a Gordy Sheffroth like fan club or something, and he's done so much amazing stuff. Another guy I'm totally appreciative of having to spend time with, and all of those guys, because they were older than me, and they taught me so much about, like, so we would practice and practice and practice, and getting tight the bass with the double kick, right? Making that poke happen. that's all part of the sound too, because as you guys both know, when you work together and that kick drum lands, when that bass note hits, it's explosive, right? And so that's when I learned about that through those guys in that band, making that really happen. Make sure that everything is and when you do that, everything sounds a lot better.
Sure it does. 100%.
Yeah.
You know, it takes some people. It took me an awful long time to learn lessons for sure. What was how long has it been since you've been back this way?
I visited my mother just recently.
Okay.
I have to see her, and I wish that led me time to see some more people, but it's, in and out, and, say hi to mom. But I haven't, I had playing with Trooper. I had the unfortunate, privilege of being there twice a year and having it for free. And I would always just tag on some days before, after, whatever, in Halifax or in St. John and see some people. And I haven't done that in a long time, but I just got used to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really Halifax is kind of neat now because it took Argyle Street. It's basically a bar district, and they shut it down. So in the summertime, you can walk on the street and go from bar to bar. It's really done a lot to bust it out.
Oh yeah, can you take your drink with you?
They're not quite there yet, but I think it's coming because I think with all what's going on here now, yeah, I think they want to try to really improve things. So was that band, like, what got you to Halifax? I remember the first time I met you is when you were playing with Razor Boy. So what got you to Halifax?
Okay, so in between there, I won because I had a better of a reputation in St. John. I was trying to be Steve Harris, and even bought that black Ibanez Roadster bass because I couldn't find a Precision to buy, or couldn't afford one, and and had a nice orange amplifier with a 215 cab or something that had a bit of grind on it. It's one of those ones that have 3 knobs. One looked like a speaker, one looked like a bass clef, and one looked like a treble clef. That was it. Great big tube thing. And my cousin, Mike Leo, had a band with Tony Collier and Wayne Gallant, who used to play with Mother Spear. Yeah. And that band was Fuse, and they needed a bass player. And so I got a call. I'm not sure if it's because that was my cousin or because of my reputation in the small town of St. John, but I got a call to play with those guys who, again, were not that much, but older than me and far much more experienced. They were already a working band on the circuit. And that's where this story of myself and James Polkinghorne comes into play, because James Polkinghorne was the bass player leaving the band, and I was the one coming in. They were nice enough to take 2 weeks where we could overlap, and James would teach me the set list. And so I got to spend time with James, watch the show. So the first night I'm there, I just watched the show, and then I play like a song here and then a set there. And by the end of the 2 weeks, I'm playing the whole show, because, and I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's because they gave me a set list, but people didn't have, you couldn't burn a CD. You couldn't just hand somebody, here's a tape of our show, and unless you had a guy with a, like Kevin Ferris with his Nakamichi tape deck in the rack. And so you had to go out and listen to the band to actually learn the show. And so I spent those 2 weeks, and James was my mentor, and again, now my lifetime friend who taught me so many of those parts. And they led to me going from the boardwalk with my band to touring Newfoundland, Halifax, and all of that. So I got to tell a funny story, though, because before all of that, with the Battle of the Bands and the things being on the boardwalk in St. John, one of the first bands I saw was Razor Boy, and they were playing on the boardwalk 1983, 1984, and the lineup was Jackie and Lee, Chris Cromwell, Ron Hustis, and Kyle Miller. And I remember them opening up with Perfect Strangers and going, oh my God, what is this? It was so great. And when they're on a break, I happened to walk by, and who's one of the first people I meet of this whole scene? Lee Dimber. He's by a hot dog cart, and I go, oh my God, that's a guitar player. And I'm like, I'm 15 or 16 years old. I can't remember. It was before I got in this scene. And hey man, your band's so great. He's like, oh, and he was, as he was saying about this, that typical, cool Lee, But the funny thing is that I go, Lee, you're the person I've known the longest in this business out of everybody that I know.
Well, and he was a great interview because Dave and I just remember him being so cranky back in the day.
It's true.
And he, he started out basically saying, I was known for having a resting bitch face. I remember but my takeaway from that interview is I didn't realize how articulate, I didn't realize how funny he was because you just never got to see it. And he was just a hoot when we talked to him. I mean, my stomach was sore from laughing so hard.
It's true.
Yeah, well, that's what I got from him on the boardwalk. I tried to talk to this man, and he was a little off, a little too cool for school. But I believe, and Lee, you tell me, I think we both still remember meeting each other there and how much that meant to me. I got to meet, in my mind, a rock star. He was a great guitar player. That band made me go, wow. And I was another one of those people I can't be thankful enough to over the years to be where I am because of these people. But yeah, he wasn't that friendly.
Oh.
But I got to meet him. I made sure.
Tim, do me a favor, Tim. Go back and watch the Lee Dimbert interview, and you'll see Sean and I at the beginning going like, "Oh, fuck, this is gonna be a nightmare. He's gonna be a crank arse, and he's just gonna be like giving us the dirty look again, like little kids." And then fucking it was wide open after that. But it's like we were like, "Okay, let's welcome Lee Dimbert."
Yeah,
It was like awesome. Right? It was great.
One, he's a delightful, caring, smart, funny man. But you're right. Back in the day, you had to be inside. Lee was very kept to himself. He had his home and his wife, girlfriend, and and his music. And he was very serious. He's very dedicated to whatever he does. Yeah. And we got to see the results of that. Right, that amazing guitar player that I got to play with every night for years and years.
So how long were you in that version of Razor Boy then?
That gets confusing. It's so long ago. Go ahead.
You were there right up till Chad Conrad came in, really, then beyond, really, into Crossroads.
Yeah. So, James leaves the Fuse band, and with the Fuse band, we're out there. We're playing the Ice House. We're touring Newfoundland. We're through New Brunswick, and the flagship in Campbellton, and all those things. And you asked Sean, sorry, like, how did you get to Halifax? I remember the first time that band landed in Halifax, and somehow we're playing the Misty Moon. And I walked in, and I couldn't believe my eyes that there was a club that big, and that we were going to play it. And I laid on that stage thinking, I'm from my little town of 60, 70,000 people in St. John, New Brunswick. I'm like, this is such a big city. I've made it. And I was 17 years old at the time. Luckily, no one asked me for ID until I was 19 because I was going in and out of the Crazy Horse and the Misty Moon and whatever gig we were playing. I shouldn't have been there. But the bouncers were kind enough to let the band in, so it worked out. And so I played with the Fuse band with Tony Collier, Mike Rooney. It was Wayne Gallant when I started. Then it was my friend Jim Alcorn from the Hellion band. Wayne left, we got Jim, but then Jim, the road didn't work out for Jim, so Jim left, and we got Rob Frick. And Rob, stellar drummer, tall, good-looking guy. I was so jealous of him when he showed up. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't compete with this guy. But we picked him up at Saints FX. He had finished his music degree and was looking for a gig. And I don't know, has this name came up yet for you guys? Dwayne Coughlin.
Oh yeah, yes. Repeatedly.
Agency 2000. I'm sorry, I haven't seen it that much. And Dwayne was, the agent for us, but at the same time trying to be a management, which just means charging you more money, or
that was the 10 to 15 to 18%. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
The sliding scale.
Yeah, exactly. I love them.
We had a great disagreement, discussion about that one time. When he said, "Oh, you see, it's a sliding scale because when I get you more money, I get paid more money." To which I said, "Well, that's what a percentage is."
Yeah.
You make a percentage. You don't. So anyhow, Dwayne helped us out a lot. And one of the things he did was find us a drummer, Rob Frick. And Rob came into the band, and that lineup toured for almost 2 years. And then toward the end of it, my friend Richard Ray came in to play keyboards, and we were actually a 5-piece.
Okay.
And that was a time when we were playing, and that's why the bass was so high, because I was playing Mark King licks and stuff, right? Trying to play level 42 songs.
Right.
You couldn't have it down here. I had to have it up here. And that lasted, I was there, so I was maybe two and a bit years. And the same thing happened. James was leaving Razor Boy, because James had left Fuse to go play with Razor Boy. And James was leaving Razor Boy, and either by his recommendation or through some sort of local word of mouth, I get a call from Jackie, and I get offered the Razor Boy gig. And so I'm thrilled. And 2 weeks later, I've learned their set, and off we go to the races, playing the Misty Moon, the Crazy Horse, Scotland Yard. We had our little circuit. We, every once in a while we'd pop over to Newfoundland, whereas Fuse spent 80% of the time in Newfoundland, right? Razor Boy was in Dartmouth, Halifax, that area, and I was thrilled.
Well, and I'm glad you brought up a couple minutes back about laying on the stage at the Moon, because anybody that didn't actually experience those rooms, they have no idea what, we were spoiled, really. The rooms that we used to get to play. I mean, the Horse, great stage. The Moon, great stage. Smooth Herman's great. I mean, that doesn't exist anymore. It's not around anymore.
There was enough cabarets to keep us, like, to feel like rock stars. You had enough room. You could put the production in there, and then you get people like Randy Urquhart who built these, and Roy Membercat who built these shows. It's like, oh my God, it was larger than life, and the sound, it was, oh.
Yeah, those things you guys say are very true. And what I reminisce about, what I miss, is the fact that you could put 4 or 5 guys together, a couple of crew, throw it in a van, and you could have a lifestyle that no one's going to get to live that ever again. This thing that you guys are bringing back is not just the people, the players, but the fact that you'd have 4 or 5 brothers with you all the time, going from place to place, and you loved each other. Irvin Hennessy, I love you, man. I can't. That time I spent with him through Razor Boy, really putting a fine point on that. Here's where the kick and the bass go, and spending hours working out parts and spending hours working out sounds. But then apart from that, just the brotherhood that you had. So Irv and I, kept in touch. And we keep in touch a bit now, but we kept in touch for years, even after all that stuff stopped. And as I said, Steve and I, he moved to Vancouver. Steve and I lived together for a long time, because those were my brothers. Those were the people that I spent so much time with, and that I respected musically and personally. And we had laughs and we had good times. And I'm so sad that a bunch of kids our age can't throw a band together or something. I guess the closest thing you can have is a hockey team.
Yeah.
And go out and do that. Spend that much time with people that you care about and that you can have such a good time with.
It's a great point, because, I mean, we get to learn business. We get to learn how to collect money. We get to learn how to drink beer. We get to see stuff. We get to learn how to set stuff. I mean, it was like, really, if you think about it, man, we should have been given a degree or diploma in something.
That's right. So true.
Yeah,
so true.
We got to learn how to tap into 220 live. That was always good.
That's right.
We'll run this thing.
Because all those,
I don't want to plug it in.
Lights,
I'm at St. Peter's High School.
all those
I don't want
lights
to plug
needed
this
a lot
in
of
here.
power.
Oh my God, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. So just a couple questions now. I'm going to throw some of the names back at you then, because I kind of forgot about Mike Rooney and Mike Leo. So right after the Fuse broke up, he must have started the In Between Days band then. Is that right?
Well, okay. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot. I was in that band. In Between Days was the later days of Fuse. We changed our name. I believe I came up with that name. It's a Cure song. It's just I put the 2 words together, and that's when Richard Ray was there, and we started doing more new wave stuff. So Honeymoon Suite, Platinum Blonde, The Cure, Duran Duran, Level 42, all that kind of stuff. Whereas when I joined the band, they were doing The Doors and the Stones and Rush and Max Webster. It was a lot to learn. And so that band became In Between Days, and that is, thanks, I forgot. That's when I left. To go join Razor Boy.
All them In Between bands.
Well, hey, and as I said, shout out to Sherry Saunders, because she said on my thread there, what do you what nicknames did you have? It was in between paychecks, and and someone had a thread earlier on saying, who was your den mama? Who took care of you? And for us, with Fusing in Between Days, it was Sherry. We could crash at her place. We could, she'd feed us a meal. She'd dye our hair blonde. She'd go to our shows. She'd buy us drinks. Because back in those days, we played mostly the Ice House, and we didn't. My apartment, we'd play downstairs from the Moon.
Yeah.
We didn't get to play the big rooms. We were, not an A band. We hadn't established ourselves there yet. And we spent a lot of time at the Micmac Hotel.
Yeah.
Right. So that led us, if we had off time in Halifax or we were playing gigs, we'd be at the Micmac, and that would lead us to going over to the Dartmouth Inn. I think it was Tomorrow's Lounge.
Sail Off Lounge.
Sail Off Lounge. Oh, great. Yeah. Tomorrow's was in Bridgewater, right?
Yep.
Right.
Okay, good.
I see you haven't forgotten.
I have, but I haven't.
Yeah.
And we'd go see Razor Boy, and we'd go see Drama, and we'd go see whoever's playing the Sail Off Lounge, and these bands with 50, 60 lights crammed into a little place, and then to go see them at the Moon or to see them at the Crazy Horse was really something. Oh, we have a visitor.
Uh-oh.
Hey, buddy. This is my boy.
Oh, hello.
Good.
Oh, there, you're sitting on my thing.
What's up? Who do we have here?
This is Mr. Bear. Say hi, Mr. Bear.
Hi.
How are you, brother?
He says, how are you?
Good.
We've been, during the pandemic, we've been doing a lot of Lego.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I know what you're thinking, that I look far too young to have a son like this, but it's not true.
Yeah, my oldest is 28, but we talked about that the other day. So
28. You made it. Good for you.
yeah, youngest is 15. So anyhow, yeah, he's a cute kid. That's cute. Very
So
cute.
where were we?
I wanted to ask you about now. Rob, the other name that you threw out there was Rob Frick. So what happened to Rob Frick?
So Rob, I'm trying to think if he was a drummer. He ended up going on to play with Ettinger.
Yep.
And then I think he just moved away to LA, and he's not on Facebook. Sherry Saunders, again, love you. She went down to LA X amount of years ago and told me that she actually tracked him down. He was very gracious, took them around to see places, out to dinner. And then she said, I lost track of him. I don't know where he went, and no one knows where he went. So he won the drum competition at the Crazy Horse.
Yes.
Right, super talented guy, beating out everybody in town, playing drums, and I thought he would go on to great things musically. Last thing I heard, he started a clothing company in LA. So smart guy, went to LA, made it happen, and I don't know. If you're out there, Rob, get in touch.
Yeah,
Like
Sherry challenged me, so I was like, "Hey, Tim may know. I got to get a hold of this Rob Frick." She challenged me for Sherry Saunders. I bet you can't get a hold of Rob Frick. It's like, "Oh yeah, I bet you I can." Oh, that's along the way, right?
You brought up an interesting point in that there's some guys that you go, like we talk about Dave Roberts all the time. Like Dave Roberts should have been a superstar. Right?
He was to me.
Absolutely. And then you see some of these like guys that make it, and you go like, what the frig? But we all know. I mean, the music industry is a weird, fickle sort of thing, and it's right time and different sorts of things that happen, and and the people that and really, it doesn't even have to be somebody. You can stay in it for years, and they can still kick the shit out of you and not do anything for you. So it is, it's partially talent, but it's opportunity and networking and different sorts of things too, right?
And preparedness. Yeah.
So a friend of mine, Brett Fitz, who plays with Slash and some other people, right? He's good friends. Here I am, 3 degrees of separation. But he's good friends with Eric Singer, right? Who's now the Catman. And Eric's quote was that people say that I'm lucky to have the gig that I have, but luck is being at the right place at the right time and being prepared.
Right.
Eric's an amazing musician, a great singer, and obviously the right guy for Kiss. He had that Paul Stanley solo gig, and that led to years later when they needed someone, Paul went, I know the guy because this guy kicks ass. And so you're right. You can't just be a musician. You have to be a business person. You have to know how to network. You have to be in the right place. You know, there's a lot of luck, but again, that luck is the right place, the right time, and the right talent. Because you see the people that have gone on to do great things, and they you know, they've all worked really, really hard. When I talk about my old band and the Battle of the Bands, and it was Haywire that won that Battle of the Bands, they were very, very talented. They were, you know, that was a great band. And whoever posted that video of them in Tokyo, my comment on that thread was about Paul McCausland, who I didn't get to see in the clubs. I was busy doing my own gigs, and I'm really sorry I didn't. We shared a New Year's Eve at the Crazy Horse, and I remember that band blew me away. They were just so good, and that guy's such a great singer. And so where's he end up? You know, they do some albums, they have some success, and he ends up singing on an album with the guitar player from Saga. You know, that's where talent leads you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But this is the Tim Hewitt show now. I want to hear more about Tim Hewitt. This is the Tim Hewitt hour now. So let's bring us back. You're in Razor Boy. You guys are playing a lot. You're right. Local circuit, because I mean, it didn't go much further than Quebec or Ontario per se. But you worked every week, as many weeks as you wanted to work, 6-7 days a week. So I guess that leads us up to about late 80s, I guess, 89 maybe. Well, Jackie did
Late 80s.
Yeah, Jackie did the gig as a manager at the Horse there, I guess. That's probably where it went a little.
Oh yeah. Geez, I forgot about that too. That's right. Yeah. So the Razor Boy years were great things. I had met. They were playing in St. John. I think I was home visiting my mom, and they were in St. John. It's the first time I met Steve Hennessy. I went to see them at a place called the Showroom in St. John. And I believe I went because James was playing bass, and I wanted to go say hi to James and see what he's doing in his new band. And then I met Steve Hennessy, who became a lifetime friend. And then later, I remember being at the Misty Moon. I think it was the very first week that Irvin Hennessy was playing drums. And I believe previously that it was Rob Smith, wonderful drummer, Rob. And but Irv came out with his Tema double kick set, and just was on fire, I thought. And I was like, I want to play with that guy. So when I got the chance to do that, I was pretty happy. And Razor Boy spent, you know, a lot of time playing these big shows. One time we did something like 24, 26 nights in a row at the Misty Moon. And it was just what you did. You just go in there every night, and sometimes you're playing from 10 till 3, and sometimes you're opening for whoever it might be, that, you know, the Box, or we opened for B.B. King, we opened for Johnny Winter, we opened for you name it, right? Those bars were wonderful at actually bringing in big names and letting Halifax have a taste of international talent, as well as supporting so much the local talent. And so we did that for 2 years or so. One sec. The boy's back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, he's gonna knock over my computer.
Uh-oh.
I'll text my wife. You can come up, bud. Come say hi.
Welcome.
Yeah. Oh, hey, look at his shirt.
What's the shirt say?
It says "Stop, collaborate, and listen."
Ah, cool. What kind of stuff does your boy like?
He really likes Old Town Road, which hey, Sarah, can you refill that? He really likes Old Town Road, which I'm very tired of. I have a new thing to.
Yeah. Sarah? No, I'm a little low too.
We'll pass the bottle around here.
Yeah.
I have a new thing at gigs to make a little extra money. It's like, if you want to hear Old Town Road, it's $200. If you don't want to hear Old Town Road, it's $200.
Yeah.
So the Razor Boy thing, we were playing, you know, it's like I said, sometimes 24, 26 nights a row at the Misty Moon. We play Misty Moon, Crazy Horse, Scotland Yard, and then 1 week somewhere else, and then just do it again. And every once in a while, take some time off and do a run through Newfoundland, or, you know, go through here and there, Digby, Nova Scotia or something.
Yeah.
But it was a good, solid job. We worked every week. As Lee said, 2 times a year, he would take some time off to go visit his mother.
Yep.
And we'd all be mad because we weren't working.
Yeah.
And and that went on for a long time, and we worked really hard. We were writing songs, and we wanted to branch out.
Mhm.
uh, I think it might have been especially myself. I wanted to leave the nest and get somewhere other than just, as you said, we're local guys. We went sometimes I can't remember maybe if Razor Boy made it to Quebec or not. I'm not sure. I think so. Um, oh, delivery. Thanks, Sarah. There, and there's
She's a
the other
keeper.
side.
She's a keeper.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So okay, let's get talk with that for a second, because we've had that conversation a lot lately, and it comes down to like with Drama and Razor Boy. Well, Haywire obviously, but
Yeah.
there was some solid songs that were written in Razor Boy.
There certainly were.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I joined the band, Lee had those songs: "Strange Behavior," "Power of the Nights,"
Hideaway is one I liked.
"Hideaway." Yeah, great song. That's they played that when they were winning second. I think it was second place in Battle of the Bands there that we were in. And then we were writing as well. Myself and Steve and Irv and Lee were writing. And like I said, I think it was me that wanted to push it. Like, let's get to Ontario, let's get to Quebec, let's go somewhere else. And that I believe that was why we ended up splitting with Jackie, is because he was taking care of his grandmother, being a good son, a good steward, and didn't want to go too far away from home.
Yeah.
Perhaps some of that was also, as he expressed, that he was sometimes insecure with what he was doing, and was very comfortable where he was in Halifax, and rightfully so. He should be. He was a rock star. He was a rock god. He was admired by everybody. He had great paying gigs. He had a home. Why leave? And so I was just young though, because again, starting with the Fuse band when I was 17, I was only 19 years old when I was playing with Razor Boy when I started.
Wow.
And doing so, I was young and full of vinegar, right? I wanted to go. And I saw this band as an opportunity to really take it somewhere. I had a lot of faith in it, and that didn't quite jive with what Jackie. So Jackie stepped out, and we got Chad Conrad on vocals. And if you saw the video I posted the other night, that someone just happened to tag me in, which I didn't. Yeah, the man was a great singer, and so Chad and I struck up a great rapport, being songwriting partners. And so that was Razor Boy. And what we found was, going through the Maritimes as Razor Boy, people were expecting Jackie. So we changed the name to Acacia.
Right.
And so it was something different. And we still played, and we toured through Quebec, and we played in Halifax, and it did quite well. But then Lee didn't want to stray, and I might be remembering this wrong. Lee and Jackie, if I'm remembering this wrong, I apologize. You guys were great, and it's just my foggy old memory. No one left the band on bad terms. No, it was never a fight, and it was never malicious. Just times change, and people go their separate ways. And so Lee, if I remember this right, and again, Lee, correct me if I'm wrong. He didn't want to stray that far from home either, and we were finding that there was a great market in Quebec. There's other things to do, and so then Lee took a step back, and in came Troy McGlagan. And Troy again, more of these people that I got to play with that were so much better than me and taught me so much. Troy was a very, very talented guitar player at the time, and he came from Irv and Steve's old band, Sinus, Fallen Angel.
Right.
That's the connection. And I remember, I can't remember the band I saw him playing with, which one it was. It was a band after that, but he was incredible. He had that stereo chorus thing going on, and he's playing a Les Paul Custom, and he was John Sykes, right? He had long curly blonde hair down to there. And so we got him in the band, and that was the end of Acacia and the beginning of Crossroads, because at some point it just wasn't working for Chad, and Chad was very driven and very strong-willed and very talented, and he had a vision where things were going, and he and I had this connection, and we were writing songs and playing together, and it ended up this whole Acacia thing. And then Steve got the offer from Ettinger to go back, because while I was in Razor Boy, I joined. Steve's there. Steve leaves. In comes Guy Turner. Guy leaves. Back comes Steve, and repeat. those guys would switch band members all the time.
Part of the
And
keyboard player will not be played by Steve Hennessy. Yes.
exactly. And Guy Turner's out there somewhere too. A very talented man. You know, just a great keyboard player, great guy, super nice to work with. It was a real pleasure. And so then Steve leaves, and we're a 4-piece with some keys on track. And Chad wants to make it almost more of an R&B kind of thing with, like, you know, so you saw that set, and that's what I said about it. What an eclectic set list. I don't even remember that. It was so short-lived, I don't remember it, because that led to over time that it wasn't quite the right fit for me, the music we were doing. And so I left that thing. Irvin was still there. As Lee said, I think he did 1 gig with us as I was on my way out. And then Lee was in, and Chris Cromwell was in there. And again, Chris Cromwell, that guy that I saw playing with Razor Boy on the boardwalk, you know, great player. And so then I just spent some time. I wanted to take some step back from the music thing, and I didn't know what else to do. So I was a sound man for a little while, and I was mixing some bands. And,
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was so much fun to mix the Misty Moon. Was a lot of fun. To mix in a little club was really hard. And I remember I had a phone number for Bill Bootlear, and when things were going all wrong, I could call Bill, and he was the nicest man who would help you with any question and take the time. I'm like, dude, I'm at the club and the tweeters aren't working. What's going on? You know, because you roll into the Misty Moon and they have all that production there. It's already up in the air. It's all plugged in, and you just go to the desk and go, great, let's do this. But when you're lugging around a 5-ton truck worth of stuff and trying to plug it all in, and you know, and all the band doesn't know what they're doing either, and they're all helping. It's like, yeah, don't help you guys. It's worse when you help. And so Bill would help out anytime I would call him. So Bill, I hope you're out there. Thank you very much. And by doing that, I worked with a lot of other great people. And I can't remember the band, but Andrew Douglas was playing guitar, and I was at the board. I was playing keys and singing background and mixing the band, right, for a couple of acts.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just something to do. I needed a job.
Well, there you go. So we'll backtrack a little bit, because before we went on, David asked you about the sound, and we see that part of that sound over your left shoulder. So, Dave, I'm gonna let bass player to bass player take this over, but Tim had some really neat things there when we talked off record. So get that going.
Tell us what you got behind you, brother. Let's see the shit.
All of it? There's a lot of stuff.
Here, I'll put my glasses on and everything.
All right. Let's go over here. This is a 1976 Ibanez 2459 Destroyer. Made famous by Ace Frehley and Eddie Van Halen. This guy here is a 1970, I think it's 75 Les Paul Deluxe.
Nice.
And there's a nice story behind that. It's been on permanent loan for about 20 years from my friend Dave Allen. Hey, Dave, are you in this group? And Dave's roommate was a man named Franklin Felder, who teched for Prince and Tesla and Aerosmith and Brian McLeod. And that's from the Tesla collection.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's got a bit of history to it. This is my, so here, Dave, this is my current player. This is kind of my bass to go to these days. It's a Lakeland, I think a 4404 plain top. It's USA made. It's a beautiful bass guitar. If you don't know Lakeland's.
How many frets is that? It looks like it's like 26 or some crazy thing. What is it now?
Let me count. 15, 17, 19, 22.
Oh my God. It looks, yeah, okay. From here is, yeah, from Halifax to Vancouver, it looks like a lot more.
Nice.
Wow.
That's a nice bass.
That's beautiful.
Heavy or no?
No, about 9 pounds.
Now, Tim, I don't remember. I went to a Fender Jazz because they got these little fucking hands, and I didn't think I did when I was a guitar player. I didn't think I was. I started playing bass, like, oh, and I had a Ibanez Roadstar starting off. It's like, that's not so bad. And then I got so much when you got to play a Fender Precision to get any kind of real sound. I was like, holy God, I couldn't freaking do it. I couldn't do it, right? So I had an Ibanez sound gear, 5-string, wasn't bad, thin neck, and I sold it all. And I was gonna, I gave up music for a long time. Went back and I was going to get another Ibanez, and they said you should try this Fender. It's like, no, I know the Fender deal. I got these little hands. It's just not going to work. I said, try a Fender Jazz. It's like, I did this, and I didn't know the difference. It's like, oh my God! So I love that guitar. So comparatively, this Lakeland that you have, and even the Spectre, because I want to see that freaking thing close up too. I'm just going to tell you right now. Is it is it a wide neck, or is it like, how's it feel?
Okay, so I'm glad you bring up the Fender Jazz because that's a thing of magic for me. So in between the Spectre, as time went on, and as you saw in my post about the Spectre, my friend Barry Woods and his brother Tiffy from the band Tent.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of the Ice
Can
House,
we call them the Fat Boys because they were the Fat Boys? Is this fair to say or no?
respectfully so.
Okay.
Yeah.
With all due respect, you have to say that you're like Talladega Nights, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Wait. Way to fucking blow that, Dave.
That's all I knew them
So-
as. That's anyhow. That's all I knew them. Okay, go ahead.
So Barry, so we, as I said in my post, you would go to the same bars that you would play with. So we'd stay at the Micmac Motel. We'd go to the Ice House because we knew the bartenders. We'd get in free. We'd get free drinks. And I'd often see Barry play there. And I bought my first Ibanez, well, my second, because I had the black Ibanez from St. John. It was a Roadstar. And then I bought an Ibanez, I think it was an Art Star. It was white with two black pickups. And I had that bass when I first joined Razor Boy. It was in one of those videos. And the thing about these Ibanez guitars, the reason that shredders pick them up is because they have little slim necks. They have nice, I think they're made for Japanese little hands. I'm not sure. They just work. They're fast guitars, they're easy to play. And so the Spectre has not a medium neck, a less than medium neck. It's not a thick neck. It's not, I don't know the exact dimensions of the nut width. I didn't care. I just knew when I played it, I loved it. It's easy to play. It's not a clunky neck at all. When I went out to try to be Steve Harris, I looked for a Fender Precision, and everyone I picked up was like, oh my God, the same thing you're saying. So in between my time of playing the Spectre, the next thing, so I bought that white Ibanez, and it's in one of those Razor Boy videos that Lee posted. I'm playing that Ibanez. I'm playing that through a PV Mega bass head. And as you said, what do you want? Well, you want chorus, right? Oh, it sounds bigger. Push the chorus button. And then I went from the Ibanez. I was in Music Stop one day. Barry's there. I'm looking at EMG pickups, and there's that voice. I got a bass with EMG pickups. And I'm like, what's that? What? Barry? Oh, hey, Barry. He's like, yeah, you want to buy this bass? And that's this white Spectre, this NS2 that's been with me since 1986, 87. But so I played that for years and years and years. And in between it and the Lakeland, which is a lot like a Sadowski, if you're wondering what it is, the Lakeland, I played Fender Jazz basses. And again, I was looking for a 70s Fender Jazz. I had played them out here. The Precision, it's a big neck. The Jazz, it's small, it's faster, it's better for my hands, it fit better. And who do I call? Barry. I call Barry again and go, Barry, I want a Fender Jazz. He's like, I got a Fender Jazz. And it might have been his, or he found it for a friend. He took the time. I still talk to Barry to this day. I still call him up. We talk basses. I was in my garage looking at things, and my rack is still in the same rack I would pop up on its side, beside with the Trace Elliott. It's still in my garage with that same Trace Elliott preamp. And he's like, Tim, I want to buy that preamp.
$1,200. I'll pay $1,200.
It's not worth that. Go on eBay and get one cheap. But they're
man, it's yours. It's just something about I don't know.
They're
with the Herky cat, that man, it was a kill. Anybody who's listening right now, go back to the video that Lee Dimbert posted. Put the fucking headphones on and listen to it, because it is incredible. That the sound, the mix that Kevin did on that whole thing. I'm telling you, I was like, oh my God, I'm right there. I felt like I was right there that night. Everything was just the vocals and the keyboards, but the bottom end was, oh my God, it was like you and Irvin are just, it was awesome, like really awesome.
Thank you.
Lee's guitar was, well, anyhow, it was Yeah, it's real. Like the kids will never see this again, eh, Sean? That's what we talk about.
No.
It's the kids that will never see that caliber of showmanship again. It's unfortunate.
Well, and it was funny because when we had Kevin Ferris on here,
Yeah.
I thought I was paying him a great compliment because I remember one mix where he mixed you guys, and I could hear the hi-hats when Irving was moving them with his foot. I could hear them plain as day. And to me, that's the mark of a good sound man, if the clarity and whatnot. He gave me the old finger going, well, you just got to listen. And it's like, okay, thanks, Kevin. But anyway, there were some good mixes. And I mean, even, pretty much everybody that you guys have mixing you back then did a great job with the band.
Yeah, Britt Fader,
Yeah.
Kevin Ferris, no, I didn't work with Al.
No.
Willie somebody.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, did a great job. It was Doug Parker mixing those guys when I first saw them again at the Sail Off Lounge. So just, Razor Boy was, not to brag, but the top of the heap for Halifax, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
they had the best crew. Had Randy doing lights with fabulous shows. Tortec East support. They'd get the best sound man. Jackie knew how to put on a show. Jackie made that party happen. So very grateful for all those people. But for the longest time with me, it was Kevin Ferris, and as we all affectionately know him as Lou, which is Louis De Palma from Taxi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well,
the first. Go ahead.
We had Bruce Wheaton on, and he was talking about they went into the Crazy Horse the week after Razor Boy played.
Oh yeah.
Basically, Rick O'Grady was the manager at the time and said, you guys need more lights. Razor Boy just came in here with 5 times what you guys have. And if you don't have more lights, you can. And Bruce was like, holy shit, he thought they had a big light show at the time, right? So
He had like 20 lights, right? We had 20 bars. It's a funny story. Yeah.
Yeah, what you should have.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too bad.
Hey, let's go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, let's finish up with guitars here,
Yep.
and we'll go on to talk about the sound of the band and the things that Kevin did, because again, really appreciative for someone with that much experience to spend his time with me.
Bring the little Spectre a little closer, brother.
All right. First though,
let me inspect the Spectre.
Here's a nice Gibson J45.
What year is that?
Hanging around for acoustic. It's a 2002, I think.
Where's it made? U.S.
Oh, Nashville.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. And here's a Brooklyn Spectre. This is a Brooklyn Spectre NS2. This is the guitar, the bass, heard on all those recordings and lived with me for all these years since 1986, 87. I shaved the finish off the neck because it was too slippery. It's a poly finish. It's
Right.
thick and strange. The ones that are sunburst, I think, have a more satin finish. James has got one now, a beautiful blue sunburst one that was made in the new factory, the
Look
new
how
one.
symmetrical the knobs are, eh, Tim? I'm just looking at your tone and volume knobs. It's like how symmetrical they are. It's perfect. It's weird. I never noticed it before.
Yeah, so Ned Steinberger. It's an NS2 because Ned Steinberger designed this, right? So he designed this, and then he designed the Steinberger bass. It was all because these guys were hanging out in Brooklyn, New York. They were all in the same thing. So Fedora worked for Spectre, and so did another one of those high-end guys that ended up making those guys were all in the same thing. So
now, do you like the Steinberg bass? Do you like the headless ones?
So my first experience with one of those was I had in the Palace one night, and Fear of Flying is playing. And so my buddy, my bass friend Colleen is playing bass. And she says, well, I'll get up and play a song. And so I get up and play a song, and I don't realize that these things, so, I had a lot of, rock moves, right? So I give it a rock move, but it's on a, it can spin around, and the thing whacks me in the head. I'm like, oh my God. I gave it a thing thinking it would, do one of those, and no, bang. So we don't have a good relationship, myself and those basses. There is one upstairs, but I as you can see, I'm a bit of a gear hound, and my friend in town here, Dave Reimer, And if you know who Dave Reimer is, maybe he should be in this group. He plays with Lee Aaron right
Okay.
now, but he's played with Barney Bentall and more famously for this bass, the Headpins. And if you can think of the Headpins "Don't It Make You Feel" video, he's playing a Steinberger
Okay.
bass.
Right.
And I don't know if it's the same one. In fact, it might not be, but I bought a Steinberger from him 2 years ago because I thought I should have a headless bass. I should have one of those. And you know, and seeing as Ned designed this thing with its beautiful curves and war wounds, of course, this
Those can't be the stock guitar straps, are they? The strap locks, are they?
they are, yeah.
Really?
They came. That's the stock strap locks that came with, yeah. And this one is, I don't know if you can see, dented, bent. It's bent because we were playing one time in Stephenville, Newfoundland, and we didn't get paid. me and Chad. So it ran into someone's car window. someone who didn't pay us.
Does his last name rhyme with Lutler?
Anyhow, so that's this bass, and Barry, thank you for years of love with this bass. I still have it. I had another one that I bought in Edmonton, and so funny all the parallels with Marty on that thread.
That was a
talking
great
about
thread. Yeah.
talking about these basses and talking about how we love them and how he loved his. And by me seeing Refugee and again, I probably went to see Refugee because Razor Boy was opening and James was in the band. So, because I told James a story. James isn't on Facebook. But I told James a story, and James said, that's the same reason that I tried to get a Trace Elliott and a Spectre, because I heard Marty.
Oh, is that
now,
right?
the
Weird.
parallels were just silly. And so, and then the other parallel was that he mentioned I had a pink one, but that went away. And I went, there were only 5 pink Brooklyns made. So they go to about serial number 1100 or so that were made in Brooklyn, the original run, before they were bought out by Kramer. And there were only 5 pink ones. And so Marty said, oh, well, I had a pink one. James, he had a pink one. And that's it. And he bought it. Steve's like, well, what are the odds? But no, they were different serial numbers. So 2 pink Spectres, pre-Kramer Brooklyns, went through Steve's music store in Toronto for some reason. We don't know why.
Weird.
Out of 5 in the whole world.
Wow.
And so as we're talking about this bass and the tone of this bass and the Trace Elliott preamp and the trick of growing your nails out like a flamenco guitar player, and James taught me this. You'd file your nails and then take crazy glue and put tissue paper on it to make them long and hard, and then you could get a tack on the notes of the bass. So not finger. Sorry, my microphone's up here. You can dig into it and really get that attack on the bass the same way that you would get that attack on the kick drum by putting those stickers or having wooden beaters on the kick drum. And that's where it really came down to. The kick and the bass had to hit at exactly the same time. You had to make it happen. Da, 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 da. And that's the hours and hours of practice that Irv and I would spend together to make that work. And anyhow, any other questions about this bass?
That's just that's
$1,200
great to
bucks.
see.
$1,200. I'm gonna buy something.
I'll sell you something before we're done. It's okay.
Okay.
That'll work both ways, just seeing.
Yeah, that's true. Have you seen my mugs? They are for sale.
Yeah.
I know. I should get a mug. And the last guy over here is a 1967 Fender 12.
Oh, nice.
Look at that terrible headstock.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
67. Wow.
Yeah. So we want a 12 string. It's hanging around.
It looks like a Jaguar, but wow. I didn't know realize it was a 12 string. That's really weird.
Well, you know the 12 string on Stairway to Heaven?
Yeah.
It's one of these.
Ah, there you go. Get school here tonight.
What's that?
So,
I said,
how's
we're
the
getting school
sound,
here
Jim?
tonight.
It's a great guitar. It's got funny split pickups like precision. See those?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the fattest Strat you'll ever hear. It's got a weird 5-way switch, chicken head knob, and big weird bridge,
Wow.
Very cool.
string through body. Yeah. Oh,
Bolt
odd,
on neck. Is it a bolt on neck?
ugly thing.
Bolt on neck?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh.
like most fenders, a bolt on neck. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't tell very quick. Okay,
So-
we're getting kind of geeky on gear.
Oh,
That's my
sorry.
fault. That's my fault. And it's all my fault. Sean's like, all right, can we
That's
just
all right.
talk about something fucking fun? Because we have much time.
I like.
Talk about you for a couple minutes to get me back in. Now, how we doing for time, Dave?
Yeah, we're get about
How we doing for?
a little less than 10.
Okay.
Oh, we're getting down to the wire.
Get your good stuff.
So
now,
let's do
Ken.
this. So, you mentioned people. We did this with a couple other guests. I feel like if you leave somebody out, it's going to be the end of the world, because this is more for us than it is for you, believe it or not. But if there's anybody you want to give a shout out to, because we're, like Dave likes to say, we're in 11 countries, 22 cities, and parts of Muscatobit Harbor. So shout out.
I told you why I'm here. Sherry, thanks. Sherry Saunders saved my ass so many times in Halifax. She was my friend through and through for no reason at all other than her kindness and her love of music and those people that took care of the bands. I told a funny story about going up to Sandy Cove, Newfoundland. We were playing the Eagles Club. And we'd wake up in the band house every day, and there was a pot of food on the porch every day from we don't know who. So we would eat it because but we didn't know where it came from. And you put the empty pot out every day, and the next day there was another pot of food there with no one asking for a thank you or telling you who they were.
Yeah.
And that's how nice Newfoundlanders are.
Yeah.
They still are to this day. Oh, we didn't meander through the Trooper days and stuff. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're talking about the old days. Another Newfoundland story. I was with Trooper, and we were playing at Memorial University, and so that's a show that's like from 8 till 10 or something. It's an early, a school show. It's a school night, so it's a Wednesday or something. So we're done early. So of course we wandered down to George Street and the many bars there. And even though I tell these people I'm a Maritimer, I'm from Atlantic Canada. I've been here so many times. I've been screeched in 100 times. You don't have to screech me in. Everybody goes, oh, it's Buddy from the band. You got to get screeched in. And before I know it, I'm, I don't know where I'm going. And I wander out into the street, and a car pulls up, and the window comes down. Hey, are you Buddy from the band? I say, yeah. Do you know where you're going? No. Get in, we'll take you home. And they knew what hotel the bands stayed at when they were playing at Memorial University. And they pull up the hotel, cradle me in, go to the front desk, and I go, I don't know what room I'm in. And they're like, we'll find out, don't worry.
Look, he's Buddy from the band. Look, he's Buddy from the band.
Buddy from the band, right? What? So how about this? Just a shout out to all the Newfoundlanders and Sherry Saunders, all the people that take care of the bands, all the people that are kind, all the people that came out to the bars, all the people that supported live music, all the people that bought the t-shirt, all the people that paid the cover charge, all the people that let us do, as you said, this wonderful thing that no one gets to do anymore. And we're so lucky to have lived through that time.
And thanks. Donna from Dartmouth will get lit up. Tim Hewitt didn't help me, didn't thank me.
Sorry, Donna.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know what? We covered a lot of racetrack here tonight. I almost feel like we gotta set up another time, because I'm sure you have a ton of stories about Trooper, because I know
want to hear
that
story too. But it's funny because Tim, it's just such a treat to talk to you. It's like you're such a gentleman. You've had such a great career, and I'm so glad you're doing it still. Like, that's awesome. Good to see your boy. That's awesome. In your
Thank you.
And it's
Thank you.
And we've talked a little bit outside of the show, so I know what you've been up to. So it's just great to see that you're well and you're healthy, that things are going in your favor, brother. Seriously, we mean that. We miss you, but we get it.
Well, I really appreciate that. And this thing that you guys are doing is wonderful. Getting back to roots, especially through this time. I don't know how all you guys are doing through the COVID thing. But for me, my whole life was turned upside down.
Yeah.
Everything's closed down. I have no, I've only ever been a musician. I don't know what else to do. So I have no gigs. My wife's working from home. The kids are home from school. Everything is not, this is not the new normal. This is the new weird for me.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
so
It's
you
good.
guys doing this thing, and for me, my life, and so you're talking about like Fuse Band to Razor Boy to doing sound to doing across the country, to living in Vancouver, to playing in Trooper, to playing in Prism, to going to Alaska with Gary Gillespie and the boys. We did miss a lot of stuff. It's all these different lifetimes for me, and I really like to live in the moment, and I like to enjoy where my life is at the time. And this isn't the most enjoyable time of life that I have. I'm lucky I have a wife who's lovely and supportive, and really a really good friend. She's been, we've been together for 20 years. And I'm very fortunate. I have my 2 lovely kids that I love very much. I have my music and my scene, but I don't have that outlet. I don't have an audience. I don't have playing gigs. I don't have the things that made me intrinsically myself anymore. So what you guys are doing is really appreciated. To think about the time when we had that thing where it was myself and my brothers and myself and the soundman and those rooms and those people. And Halifax was a wonderful music community. Halifax was so supportive. Well, the Maritimes were really, but Halifax was such a great place to spend some years growing up and literally growing up. You know, I ended up there when I was 17 years old, and to spend those formative years with those great musicians and those great people in those great rooms. Thanks for making me shake off the cobwebs and go back there, because I don't often do that. I live in the moment. I live in the present. I appreciate what I have and don't often think back. But you guys are, this is a really great thing. And I appreciate so much that you want to talk to me at all. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate that, Tim, because it's funny. Dave and I started this about a month ago for shits and giggles, and we figured out pretty quickly that it was more than that. And, you know, we often have to post the whole mental health awareness thing, because some people, and we didn't mean to do it, but some people are reminiscent in ways that kind of make them feel weepy through all this stuff. But thanks so much for your words, because you're definitely getting it. And I mean, that's what we're trying to do.
That's great.
And we get it too, man, because it's like we're all entertainers. It's you can't entertain right now. It's like you might as well cut off your left arm. It's like, Jesus, part of me is missing right now. That, you know, that whole thing. So we get it. We totally understand. Keep watching the show. Like, it's not just like, we're not going to live in the past all the time. We're talking, you should see the new stuff that's coming up this week. Going to blow your mind. But we try to like put it all together. Like, it's kind of like just a living embodiment of maritime music, you know. And we have to talk with the past for sure, because there's a legacy that went before us. But there's still going to be stuff going on. This music isn't dead here. You know, the bars are different, but it's not gone. There'll be other venues, you know, and you know, we just want to be part of it too. So, thank you for being
great.
part of it.
You're very welcome. Anytime.
And Tim, last thing I'm going to say, I'm shitty on Facebook, but you've been coming up on my feed quite a bit, so I'm going to send you a friend request so we can get back to reconnecting.
Hey, please do that. That's great.
Yeah, 12 years since I was trying to get on there. 12 years.
I was a holdout for a long time. I until someone said you had to.
Probably Sherry.
Yeah,
my brother. We're gonna go with that. But listen, thanks so much, Tim, and thank you, lovely wife, and your kids too. Like, for time away from them too. I'd love to hear some of your stuff. Hey, can people hear your stuff? Is there any place they can hear your music?
Just Google me, timothyhewitt.com, timothybhewitt.com, oliversongs.com. Speaking of not being able to play, I'm doing a new thing now here in Vancouver. I'll give it a plug because it doesn't hurt. Sidewalksessions.ca. I go and do social distancing shows outside of people's houses.
Very cool.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, play on the sidewalk for people because no one wants you in their house.
If you end up doing like a live hit or something, let us know.
I will.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers. Nice chatting.
All right, brother. You too.
All
the best, Tim Hewitt. All the best to you, my friend.
Nice to talk to you. Take care.
All right. All the best. Take care. We're